Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Helmet damage detected. Always use Lynx branded repair kits to avoid invalidating your warranty.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Valuable object processed. Credits awarded. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Caution. Tether supplies running low. Warning. No tethers remaining.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. applied. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Deposit not accepted. Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Caution. Tether supplies are low.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Warning. Tethers depleted.
Welcome to Metatron 9000.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
All right, Cutter, you got 5 minutes left of this shift before they turn the lights out on you. Pitter patter. Weaver out.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Valuable object
No tethers remaining.
Object not accepted. Please revisit your training. Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
Welcome to Metatron 9000. Have a nice day.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited. Deposit not accepted. Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Air pressure level decreasing.
1 minute left, Cutter. Time to start wrapping things up. Weaver out.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.